Alright, so it probably looks pretty much the same as the last video, or the last clip. But anyway, I had to rotate the vise because the way this one's laid out, the way I mounted it, I could only get like a little over 90 degrees worth of swing out of it before it would hit the stops. But anyway, now I've got it where, oh come on vise, where I can get actually over 180 degrees out of it. And the thing that I really like about this setup is even with long material in it that's not touching, that's 2-inch square tube, and it's close. I could notch a little bit more if I wanted to, but for pretty much anything I'll ever do, sorry, hope I'm not making you guys sick, even with material going past the jaws, going down, sorry, it's getting late so I'm videoing like an idiot. But anyway, even with the material going all the way down, I can go ahead and spin the vise, whatever orientation I want, and it doesn't hit. So that's a beautiful thing. I am a happy man. But yeah, that is the benefit to that. And then the other thing is, I ended up making basically a drop receiver for it to get that vise down a little lower. I like the bench height, but if you mount the vise up that high, then it's just a little bit too high. If you got to throw anything in there and drill down, it ends up being just a little bit higher than I like. So this is pretty much perfect. And yeah, so figure out what you guys like and make it yourself. But that's what I did, and gonna get moving next. That's actually the tube for the bench grinder, so gonna get that thing going and probably get it finished up tomorrow. Thanks. Alright, I was just thinking about it, and I don't think I was showing how I'm drilling the 2-inch tube. It's a lot easier now that it's actually in one of the holders. Before I was just putting it between my feet and drilling down into it, which is a total bitch when you get to the big bits. But anyway, like I showed earlier, describe it, center punch it once you get it center punched, starting with like a 3/16, and then just step drill it quarter, like 9/32, half, 9/16, and then that's like 43/64. It was a bit I had from some other project that I think I drilled one hole with it. It's like just a hair under 5/8, but with normal twist drills, it ends up being kind of sloppy. I actually probably should have just looked at doing a 9/16 and then giving her the old ream it out, but haven't tried that yet. Maybe I'll try it on this hole. But yep, just step drilling it, nothing crazy. The old tradesman special. Alright, hot off the welding table, literally. The first two things coming off of it, finished up the mount for the bench grinder. And I don't know, you guys know everything with welding, shit's too hot to handle for a while, so it's a good thing to, if you can multitask, have a couple things going. Well, that one's cooling down. Right before I did that, I welded up this piece of artistry, which is actually like the sections of the table that I cut out. This side of the bench grinder for the wire wheel never had a shoe, so I just took those couple pieces of table, took one of the bolts for the table because it was missing that. It looks like it was actually a carriage bolt on the other one with a wing nut, but whatever. Just used the panhead screw and a nut, bolted that on. Now there's actually a shoe on the wire wheel side. This thing could use a little TLC too. This bench grinder came with the house, and I see why. You know, but ground that out, could probably TIG it up, but still suck with the TIG. And then it needs an end cap made up too. It's missing that, so we'll see. You know how it is, little projects. Whenever you get pissed off at whatever you were supposed to be doing or whatever you'd planned for the day, when you start throwing shit, you just move on to something else and take care of that. So that'll get done someday, maybe. Alright, so instead of doing something I probably should have been doing, I hadn't busted out the TIG machine in like a year. So I actually fixed the crack in the bench grinder already. So that thing's back to being solid. And yeah, it's going good. The welding table's actually strong enough to support the TIG machine. It's got a little bit of wobble if you bump into it, but I don't think it's going to fall over. At least not unless you bump it really hard, but so far so good. Alright, so I was going to cut out another end cap for the grinder. You know, finished welding that up last night. It's going to actually make an end cap, but I need something to cut it out with, and I'm sick of trying to hold the Portaband and cut the material, so I'm going to make myself a little baby bandsaw table. You know, you see Swag Off-Road makes a kit. But I'm going to see if I can save 60 bucks. So I'm going to take this old rusty piece of 1/4 inch plate. I already transferred some marks on there. I'm going to drill that sucker out. And then got some flathead 1024 screws. That's actually what the thread is that goes in the Portaband. Mount that on there. And then I think I'm going to cut another 2-inch tube so I can just slam that sucker right in the table and be cutting. So yeah, it's just like cautions breed cautions, projects breed projects. Alright, so it wasn't very good about filming it. I had was trying to kick ass and get it done. Kind of a late start today, but got it done. Ended up cutting out that 1/4 inch plate, shined it up a little bit with a flap disc. You know, it was just a rusty piece of garbage. I forget what that was, out of a barbecue grill or something. I've had that piece of steel laying around forever. But you know, drilled my holes in it. I had one that I transferred wrong, so hey, a speed hole. Anyway, so bandsaw's mounted. And I took the circ saw, cut a slot in the plate, so you can go ahead and slip it through. Alright, well, still making the end cap for the bench grinder. So we got that cut out. I had the Portaband table set up. Was able to do my rough cutout on this plate, and I just cut the center hole out. And some people, you know, wonder how you fixed your weird shaped parts, or, you know, I'm just holding this flat piece of aluminum and I don't want to drill through the top of my nice bench that I just finished filling all the holes in. What can I do? Well, aluminum and wood go together like peas and carrots, or Mountain Dew and Marlboro Lights. They're fucking fantastic together. So what you do is you just screw it down. All it is a 2x4. Just make sure you can get a piece, you know, get enough screws in it to where it won't spin. So I got 4 screws in it. No chance of that thing spinning. I could drill all the way through my workpiece. Doesn't matter. And I'm not screwing anything up. So got that cut out and ready to keep fabbing it. Alright, I got a little behind in recording. Got the bandsaw, I guess Portaband table all finished up. I ended up doing it so it's usable about 3 different ways. As you can see right now, it's in the receiver tube in the bench, so it's got a nice low height. Get work on it right there. I ended up using that to carve up that chunk of aluminum for the new side piece for the bench grinder. So that's done. I got to grab a couple more other 8 screws. Those are too long, so I just spaced them out for now. I need to get a couple more screws out of the terminal block is what ended up being right for that. But anyway, got the bandsaw mount done. It's right now you can see this is the one way to use it in the receiver tube, or sorry, a little bright. You can take a countersunk some quarter 20 flatheads in there. So if you want to take those out, you can just use this plate. I ended up I took the TIG welder out. Anyway, you can see I welded on, this is a piece of 3/8 steel that was cut off from the edge of the welding table. So I ended up TIGging that on here just for a little practice. I could have just MIG'd it, but I hadn't TIG welded steel before, so just figured out how to do that. Not much different. Anyway, it was a little lumpy, so I ground it down. That's why I'm an amateur, definitely not getting a stack of dimes out of that one. But so like I said, take those screws out, you can throw it right in the vise. It ends up working pretty damn good. If you know, if you wanted the space to work in front of the bench and you didn't need the vise for whatever you're working on, you can throw it in the vise, or just take these screws out and screw it to a sawhorse or whatever you need. That way, you know, pretty much versatile. You can take it anywhere, do anything. If you need to make it smaller, you don't want the receiver tube in it, you can use it a couple other different ways. So, but I think that's pretty much going to wrap up the updates to the bench. Thanks for watching, and if you like what was going on, like, comment, and subscribe, and see if this channel will take off. Thanks.